All right. Hi, yeah, here we are. So, yeah, just to quickly introduce myself because I'm pretty sure nobody knows me yet on this podcast. My name is Daniel Orlov. I'm a software engineer and a wellness enthusiast. There are more things to tell, but I'll stick to this for now. And yeah, I'm excited to hear more about what you experienced today on the Nordic Fair. And what's the official name? It's Nordic Organic Food Fair plus Natural Beauty Show plus Eco Living Scandinavia. So like 3 events in one. I'm all ears.
Well, for those who haven't been listening to us previously, my name is Tanya Mironova. I'm an olfactory art educator, wellness enthusiast, as well as Daniel, and someone who has just recently moved to Denmark from lovely Netherlands. It's
Lovely.
the lovely Netherlands. I mean, like, where should we put article?
The lovely Netherlands, I think.
Yeah, probably. I've just returned 2 hours ago from a very special event. Very special to all the fragrance lovers, the wellness enthusiasts, and everyone who's around. What is so special about it is that it's probably one of a kind, really wellness enriched exhibitions out there.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular event is organized, I believe, by the UK company, though it's conducted in Malmö, Sweden.
You were saying that it's quite unique, and I totally agree with it, because when we think about events like this, we probably picture like a fitness festival like events, or maybe just eco green kind of nature friendly events, but those are quite separate. Like the fitness one in Europe, I obviously think about the one in Cologne or Köln, how we want to call it. But that's very sort of fitness focused. And if you look at the roster, it's like bodybuilders all over the place, and what to eat and what to put in your body, and, you know, all this different stuff. So not really, I'd say, general public oriented. So I want to hear more for now.
Yeah, so first of all, the fragrance community probably knows there are a few major events in the field. And of course, when you are thinking about fragrances, you think about Texans in Milano, Italy, or Pitti Fragranze. Well, it was a mix of French and Italian, so Pitti Fragranze, which is held in Florence. There are also biennial events like the World Perfumery Congress. The next one is going to be in Switzerland, or smaller ones, but still very lovely to join. Probably it's like a Barcelona Olfaction Week, which is currently called Barcelona Olfaction Congress. Again, some like very niche events, like the one which my friend Sophia Colette Eric with her team conducting right now, like is preparing right now in Amsterdam. This one is for the Eau de Europa project, but general public knows probably only about the first two, mostly about Texans, since like visitors can go there freely and experience all sorts of smells. But for me personally, and for the podcast listeners, I believe it's very important to know that fragrances and smells, they're just so different depending on the way they are composed, they're used, they are produced, and yeah, many more words ended with ed. But for me, joining the exhibition, which really shares the holistic approach, was something I've been considering for quite a while. And I knew about the Nordic Fair, which is like the official name is in Swedish, it's going to be the word mässa. So like an exhibition.
I immediately picture, you know, the ladies singing gospel from the American movies. Like, I assume there were none of them there.
No, not this time.
Right.
This event, it really consists of a few parts, but all of the parts are really united by the idea of wellness, well-being, and I would say holistic approach. You may wonder, what role do fragrances play here? And I thought like I should go and see how people in this type of environment would think about smells, and what types of fragrance products would be there.
Yeah, right.
Officially, it's like a food fair and a beauty show. Technically, the whole place, which is very lovely, it's not that huge as you might imagine, since our lovely software engineer brought me like 2 months ago to a very huge techno.
Techno, yeah.
I would love you to bring me to techno events, but no, it was a tech event.
Yeah, pretty close. I mean, not so much on the music side. And that was, I don't really recall the name already, but that was...
It was Amsterdam Tech Expo.
Okay, so you remember better. That's good. It was a big one with like multiple plenary sessions held across the huge pavilion. But I guess this is more like a cozy Scandinavian style.
Well, cozy definitely, especially since we have food finally, not like in Tech Expo. And
yeah, I mean, sorry for that.
And we also have fragrance products to talk about and to smell. So those are different. But to me, the first very big difference was that when you leave the train station, and in my case, it was station Hulie in Malmö. For the Russian-speaking listeners, you might hear some weird sounds here. But for all of you, it's just another station before you reach Malmö Central. And when you leave the station, you just go basically to Malmö Mässan. And I frankly was expecting something huge, but Malmö Mässan is not that huge building, and it didn't have any banners. You just enter the place. And you could hear the music. I was about to say to see the music, because it's like hear the smells. So see the music, I believe it's also appropriate. Well, you enter the place, and I suppose around 70% is dedicated to either food or supplements. I would call them like a category which we are very close to food. And around 30% or so is dedicated to totally different things, which include beauty products and fragrances.
Okay, so a food-centric event. Even though as I was saying in the beginning, there are like 3 events conducted simultaneously, but food is central.
Yeah, like the eco-living part, which is, I would say it's not a separate event. It's the name of everything what was going on, like eco-living, and inside the eco-living was food and beauty. So a little bit, not something you know if you've never been to this place. You expect like eco-living. When I hear eco-living, I think about sofas made from like some natural materials. So eco-living is, in my head, is more about that kind of stuff. But for the experience, no, you shouldn't be expecting something like that.
Got it. Okay. So you mentioned you've entered, and then there's like 70% food.
Yes. So you could imagine me, vegan, at this point, and you know that perfectly. I'm on a very specific diet, even more specific than just being vegan. So yeah, apart from that, I'm also sugar-free. And apart from that, I'm also on a low histamine diet with controlled. I wanted to say
a controlled group, like that sounds like this.
Being controlled by the dietitian.
I'm the controlled group, by the way. We eat the same food, and then we see what happens. Like sometimes the control group fails more than you do, like the case with cinnamon. But yeah, let's not get into this.
Yeah. There are too many details, but for all of you, if you are into the wellness from the food perspective, you will feel like you've eventually entered the place which has everything you've ever wanted, like everything you've ever needed.
Wow.
And of course, like you think, oh, I should go to the fragrance section, to the beauty products, and immediately start interacting there since I'm here for the fragrance talks. But then you just see like sugar-free confiture, like the French one, and I tried the apricot one. Or you see hemp chips from a Finnish company.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been expecting it from a Dutch company, but okay, I let that pass.
For the for the Dutch companies, again, like since we've just moved, there are Dutch companies, the 2 companies which I've personally been buying products from, like the one which has different seeds spreads and another one which has chocolate without added sugar, but not like 100% chocolate, which some people couldn't tolerate because of the taste. But another one, a company from Breda.
I think it's Breda.
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 Yeah, from Breda.
It's halfway from The Hague down to Belgium. that probably doesn't ring a bell, but just for you to know, there is
Yes.
some lovely chocolate makers over
A
there.
very good one, because the chocolate doesn't have any sweeteners, but does have a very sweet chocolatey taste. They've launched a new taste, pecan. Pecan nut.
What did you do the first? What was the first thing you did?
Well, the first thing, after a very weird experience of trying to check out with my racer card, which is the Danish travel card, and I was expecting that I could easily do that at this holy station. Um,
Okay, I hope that's not the name, but if it is, I'm gonna be laughing every time. It's like if I were to translate it, there would be like an F word in it for the Russian speakers. So yeah.
Holy station, I was actually thinking like holy, I couldn't find a place to check out, though it was supposed to be there. So after this a little bit stressful experience, when I entered the place eventually, I first heard like, oh, okay, like press participants could go to a panel to listen to like a talk about general trends from organic Sweden, organic Denmark, organic Finland, organic Iceland, and organic Norway. I thought, okay, I will go there and just like relax, do my breathing exercises, and be like in my best spirits, and of course learn something.
And you did that.
Yes.
Okay, tell me, how was that?
Well, everyone is so lovely. I mean, in this exhibition, you just feel welcomed by everyone, because probably people who work actually in this field or have any connection to that, they just really think differently than people who don't.
You mean like they mostly want people who are working in the no added sugars, like sweets,
No cruelty.
no cruelty. Yeah, they actually care a lot about it.
Yeah, because you couldn't be doing that if you don't care about the planet. You couldn't be doing that if you don't think about future generations. And this type of thinking is probably only attached or is only organic to people who care about having organic products. And when you listen to them talking about like what they want to achieve, what are the trends, you of course feel very different than when you go to even the most fragrance talk from all fragrance talks, but which is about money eventually.
Yeah, I would imagine, because I assume the market share is still relatively low, and the ability to gain traction from the general public is still limited by the habits, because you don't think about eating something sweet without sugar just because, yeah, that's how generations since I think it was the beginning of the last century when the sugar was introduced in mass quantities, the refined sugar, but basically the obesity took off as a thing. But yeah, so what are the trends? What did you like the most from what you've heard?
I suppose there were some really sad things to hear, since in the last year it was a drop in the organic share of the market. Generally, it wasn't like event where they, as a very lovely said, the Danish representative, she said like we couldn't be really bragging with any success right now, because it's not the case. But
did anyone mention like the thoughts? What are the reasons behind the shrinking share of the organic food in the market?
well, unfortunately, it's all financially related. So it's not the customers don't want organic products. Customers do want and are very informed, but still, it's the case just simply money-wise.
So the inflation is hitting the households, and they are opting out of the more like eco-friendly and organic products, so switching to the more affordable ones.
Yes, right. Especially when they can. I mean, there are, I suppose, types of products which you buy rarely, and then you could concentrate on them being really highly organic or something, and it's more common for the cosmetics or beauty market. And it's not that common for like everyday purchases, like I don't know,
Like food, yeah.
like food. And this was a little bit upsetting, though. I believe it's gonna be, there will be a change kind of soon. And what a very lovely thing I've heard from the Danish representative from the Organic Denmark, since Denmark is the first European country where the government has made a program on plant-based food development.
Yeah,
You've probably heard about it.
I've heard of that, and yeah, we would love to hear what they'd want to do with it.
Yeah, as vegans. Yeah, hello. Right.
Did we mention we are vegans? That's like,
Yeah.
like almost meme-like behavior. We are like 20 minutes into recording or something.
We should go further to
To the fragrances, finally, to, the...
smells. Whew. But without this context, it's kind of hard to start. It's like I couldn't come and say like, oh, hello, I smelled this and that on the organic, Nordic Organic show. Like, well, like, okay, yeah, I could also go to a local shop and do the same. So
Okay.
it's different. I will try to follow some chronological timeline.
Like the order of discovery that you...
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like even at these kind of exhibitions, you have people with absolutely different level of knowledge when it comes to them fragrances and their relation to health.
Okay.
So you could see a person who is promoting aromatherapy right now with essential oils and specific devices. Or you could see people who are saying that in the future they are planning to completely eliminate fragrances, though they are natural and organic, in their products, just because they don't want to irritate customers, and customers don't really want fragrances anymore in the product. So
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, that kind of the reason why I think, and it's obviously, just my take on that, because the market share for those who would want aromatherapy still it exists.
it exists, and I suppose it's even growing.
Okay.
Really, but
Then it's, so polar compared to completely forbidding any, or maybe it's not forbidden, it's like self-imposed ban of any potential allergens.
right. But it's also interesting. It was interesting for me since there were representatives, for instance, for the certification bodies, and they were saying like one type of things. Other people, like, it's very interesting that we think that allergens is only a bad thing, while I believe there are many more bad things, health related, which you could find in a beauty product. Allergens are tested differently in many ways in different categories of products. For instance, if it's a product which is to stay on your body, there should be 1% of allergens. If it's a product which is to be rinsed off, it's a different percent of allergens possible. But it's, again, everything we've been talking about that is that if you have an allergy and you use many products with allergens, you will probably see it.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of, in my perspective, the beauty of beauty products, of being able to see allergens. Actually, you will see the rash reaction on your skin.
Yeah. I mean, because you put it on your body, and it's not necessarily always the case with all the fragrances, unless you actually do put it on your body, then it's very, or at least like much easier to see the reaction, if any.
Right. The problem is that, of course, if you lay on many products, then it's difficult to decide which was the one causing allergy, or it is a combination of them, because now you've exceeded some threshold, and that's where you get allergy. However, I see the problem a little bit differently, since this low histamine diet, it's actually was an eye-opening experience from the perspective that you might not have allergy to a particular product, and you will not see it immediately. But you could get something inside of you, which will eventually make you feel like you want to sleep, or make you feel like a little bit foggy in your head, or make you feel tingling around your mouth, though you just might be a little bit feel strange, but it's not an allergy from a standard perspective.
Yeah, it's not the one that like you have a friend that says like, oh, I'm allergic to that, because if they if they eat something or if they touch something, they actually can be like in a life-threatening situation.
Right. And need a fork or adrenaline, right?
Yeah, whatever is available at the moment.
Exactly. And I believe with fragrances, we are also having this kind of situation where it's on the one hand, it's even good if you could see your allergy, to be honest, in my perspective, because it's much worse than you couldn't see it, you couldn't feel it, but inside of you, something is going wrong. And this is something where I believe saying that, oh, well, naturals are causing allergies or synthetics are causing allergies. Well, we have much bigger problems in my perspective, since we are also inhaling all this stuff.
Yeah, right. And then this is, I think, is not very widely tested, if I'm correct.
If any, how. This was too much already, and I didn't even mention the lovely participants, is that you could use a lovely app, which is developed, I suppose, by the French developers. It's called INCI, INCI Beauty.
INCI Beauty. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave a link in the description, and you could at least get some idea of what could be in a beauty product and see if fragrance is the worst thing which could be happening there.
Yeah, or if it's actually the safest one, because allergens and when you look at the bottom of your favorite perfume, or maybe on the side or on a package, then you see that all the different already known allergens are over there. But some things that you might not even recognize as potentially dangerous for your health are also there.
Yeah, and they don't look like allergens, because it's just a normal thing to have all petrochemicals in once and all cancerogenic products in your cream, and don't worry about it.
Yeah, and all the hormone disruptors.
Endocrine disruptors.
The endocrine disruptors. Yeah, as representing the tech side of the podcast, I gotta say that even though the app is not the most sophisticated one, it does the job brilliantly. And even if your favorite product is not on the list, you can still for free just take a picture of the ingredients and then send it the developers way, and I assume they run some image recognition on top of it, and after that recognize the ingredients and give you an overview from 0 to 20. Sorry, how bad is your product, basically? As a result of those checks that we had to discontinue using some of the products, but I guess it's only for the better, at least from the perspective of the outcome. So something to consider or to do at on a boring winter evening, if you want to get rid of half of the things that you own.
But in these events, in today's event, the eye-opening for me was a very interesting speech from Mark Smith. He represented, he's a doctor, Mark Smith, very importantly, because right. I know that people don't like if you don't
use the proper...
They don't use doctor.
Right, yeah. Okay, Dr. Smith.
Yeah, so the Dr. Smith from the certification body NATRU. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
NATRU?
Yep.
NATRU? It's like nature, but true with it. Okay, so it would probably be corrected by Google.
Well, he said that endocrine disruptors is sort of, like a previous line of...
concern.
Right.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Now what?
Now what? We've just arrived to endocrine disruptors. Just found this application.
And Dr. Smith already told us that it's the yesterday's problem.
Really. The new one, and as far as I got it, the European Union is now either developing some directive on that or just developed, and it's about a different substance. It's a different type of problem, I would say.
Okay.
Called PFAS.
Sorry? That sounds like you're trying to spit something. Could you...
almost like that. It's PFAS.
PFAS, right.
And now I will try to read it. Per and polyfluoroalkyl. No. Per and polyfluoroalkyl. Alkyl.
Can I see? Polyfluoralkyl
I
sat.
think it's alkyl, not
Yeah,
alkyl.
it's not alkyl. Sorry, my bad. But what
It's very important to alkyl and alkyl. Like
Yeah.
our chemistry friends will not allow us to do that.
Yeah, please help us out, the chemistry friends. We would
So like
appreciate.
substances is the last one. So technically, we are speaking about other types of chemicals, which have the second name, according to Dr. Smith, is the forever chemicals. Probably they are just like living forever, either in nature or in your body. I don't know where they do. I have
Nice.
not yet had a chance to explore the topic, but I just wanted to share that if you think you're on the edge with endocrine disruptors, no, it's FUS, which are on the edge probably.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that, and thank you, Dr. Smith, for sharing this. I guess we'll probably follow up on the topic when we'll research that better. But
Yeah,
if you find something interesting, please send it our way as well.
we might have Dr. Smith later on in the podcast, because when I was listening to him, it's like, there are absolutely different, as I've said, genders, but like different categories of knowledge.
For those getting triggered, it's just a joke about that there is I think, I'm not sure if it's only Russian meme or if it's outside of just the Russian part of the internet, but there is this joke about there are only two genders, which basically, contradicts the gender theory, but, that's why we say that.
Right. And I believe like the amount of genders right now is much bigger than the amount of
PFAS known to us. So
known to us, definitely.
That is true.
Definitely. And so the thing for me was that on the one hand, like, one building, relatively small place, people like Dr. Smith talking about things which we couldn't even pronounce, and saying that this is actually the thing, and it's going to be the next thing to talk about, and the next thing to introduce, and the next thing to discuss and to label, etc., etc. And on the other hand, you have people like, I don't know, like a French perfumery company, and you approach them and ask like, oh guys, you are probably, your fragrances are organic, aren't they? And they're like, no. And they are like, and then you say, probably like the essential oils you use are organic. No, not really. So what is organic? Oh, well, we have this cream, which is organic.
All right. Okay. So that's a special cream. We have that. Okay. I don't have a good joke about it, so I'll just shut up.
So really, even me, I mean, being in the field for quite a while, I have things I don't know about, like, at all. And that's the beauty of participating in the beauty events, pun intended. But also it's the problem when you think about a topic that you know everything about, for instance. So you think you know everything about, then you just have somebody saying like, oh, endocrine disruptors. No, just like, it's a thing, it's a problem, of course, but we are now aiming at like solving a different issue. Yeah.
Right. But was there anything, like we've been discussing the things that Dr. Smith shared with us, and the trends in the food industry? Was there anything that you found particular striking or unusual in the fragrance part of the exhibition? I remember it was relatively small compared to the food one, but anything else you would like to share?
Well, unfortunately, there were no panels like that on particular on fragrances. It's a thing that you don't consider fragrance as a very important specific part of the discussion. There haven't been any panels on that. Probably it's something to do next year, because the producers, like if you come individually and you ask, do you use any fragrances in your products, which and why? Everyone is very open to discussion, since smells is something people are very, very like to discuss. If we're talking about like fragrances in wellness products, then people either try to stick to something which looks like natural fragrances, or it is a natural fragrance, or not use fragrances at all. But I believe those two don't actually meet.
Is that because of the application, how people use wellness products? Is it because of the clientele that is more focused on the less unknowns you put in your body, the better, or what do you think is the reason?
It seems to me that we are so sensitive now to many products because we live in the environment which made us to be very sensitive about things. Like it's loud, it's sometimes overcrowded, it's like a lot, and you just want to have less. Like less is better actually, and I think this is part of the fragranced wellness products agenda. But it's my idea on that, and I believe probably next year having a panel on that or having a talk on that would be very lovely and beneficial. And it would be interesting to hear the opinions of the founders, why they don't want to use fragrances in their products. Switching gears, because I believe we need more professionals on that, and we also need more panels on that. I just wanted to share with you a few products I've tried, had a look at, and we will probably unpack some of them right now.
Okay, so what do you have?
Right. So from the Organic Iceland booth, I got a few lovely products. I was very, very surprised. They started, of course, like every booth, when it comes to a country, it has a few exhibitors inside of it. And there were a few products different. And one of types of the products were essential oils from the pine, from pines. But those are different types of pines, first of all.
Like small ones, probably. I don't.
Like funny.
Like very very small pines, because I don't think Iceland is famous for the giant pine trees.
But I actually adore how they try to tell me about the geography of Iceland, since I've been once. They say that there is a head and there is a
tail.
A tail. Like Swedish kicks in. So the products I have are from the head. And we've been discussing that they have not too far from them. I just technically, I couldn't reach the head when I was in Iceland because it was May and it was already very snowy. So, not already, it was still very snowy. And
already, yeah.
The roads were blocked. So you just couldn't go there. And they have a very lovely company, which started as a family business. So the name for it is Willie May. I'm very sorry if I pronounce it not correctly. However, the thing is that the lady, Anna, she's very lovely. She started producing balms for the muscle relief pain just because she needed it.
Right.
And then other people approached her. And, like the rest is history. She has her brand. And yeah, it's a very lovely company, extremely lovely people. And since the Icelandic community is very tight, they know everything what is going on where. And for this pine essential oil thing, they didn't have the representative. However, I smelled the pines, and those two types I smelled were very different from all the pines I smelled previously, like pine essential oils, of course. And they just, if somebody in Iceland got a product, they try to cooperate and make a product on that.
That's nice.
I really like the community. And the products I have in my hands right now, those are Baby Bottom Charm, Wound Charm, Lip Charm, and Muscle and Joint Charm.
I like how it looks like they're named after someone. So it says Sara Kaldur. So is she the creator, or do they all have the names on them?
No, not all.
Okay. Or maybe I'm assuming Sarah is a name, but that could be something different. They smell quite nice, and I'd say unusual.
But what you're smelling is something I really like. It's when a product actually smells with its ingredients. So technically, you don't need to add anything.
So basically, it's not fragranced additionally.
No. However, I actually really like it. Because you see what you get.
Now No, I think it was my bad. I assumed it was a name, but it's actually just a description of what it is in Icelandic.
I think it's very good to have a product which smells already, so you don't have to think out anything, or you don't need to have this dilemma to put a fragrance or not to put a fragrance. Whew, another company, I don't have anything to offer you to smell, but I actually very like them. They're from a small Greek island called Sirius. It's not Cyprus, it's important.
Right.
And my favorite is this one. We are looking at vegan lemon blossom solid body butter.
Those are all related words.
If you imagine having round soap,
Uh-huh.
but instead of using it as a soap, you use it as a body butter.
Uh-huh. So is it melting and then you put
Yes.
it? Okay.
It
Interesting.
melts on your skin, and you could see it in my Instagram.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, and we haven't said the name, by the way, from the company. It's called Aigan.
Aegon Beauty. I'm not sure.
Aigan
so
Beauty.
it's named after the sea that is,
Yeah, and the symbol, like it's a sun, it's mountains, and this is the sea.
the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I like the symbol. I like the people. Really, really love family story. So again, when I asked, like, it's another approach. When I asked, like, how do you choose fragrances for your products? Since it's a very big thing. And they said, like, oh, we are just having everything which is locally available. So products are available, packages available, designers available, smells available. So eventually,
Like a good old times when we didn't have internet.
yeah, right.
When we actually had to, go to a guy who lives in a village near to you and then, say like, hey, so you're doing the glass jars. I gotta buy jars from you.
So I actually, I'm so fascinated by this body butter that I will probably order it online for myself. It's, like with the cream. You just put a cream in your hands and then you start like doing what I'm doing right now, like you're spreading it all over your body. But with this soap, like it's really like it's hard because it's cold, but then your body starts to warm it and then it melts a little bit on your body. Not like the whole piece is melting, but
Yeah, because
only-
that would be not really comfortable and would be probably
No.
all over your hands. Right. So what's coming up next? I see.
The description of the teas, by the way. The first fragrance product I approached was not a fragrance or not a beauty product. It was Wilden or Wilden Herbals,
Uh-huh.
a brand from Italy. And they have a very lovely selection of teas. Of course, our listeners will say like, oh, what I haven't
Yeah,
heard
teas
about this.
like
Yeah.
I've seen it.
But there is a difference in the way you approach it, because you could have a flavored tea with artificial flavors or flavored tea because you have components which give flavor. For instance, with the rose, I have personally a very lovely rose tea, but well, it has natural rose in it. However, it does have also artificial, like artificial sweetness ones, artificial flavors such as from lychee or something else to give some better idea, but probably roundness and balance. But I would prefer to have a natural lychee and pay a little bit extra, just
Yeah.
to get this taste.
Yeah, I got this. And if you go and check your favorite tea, if it has anything like that, it probably also, even though it says like, oh, it's just the leaves, there are plenty of things they added on top of them just to make it smell or taste in a particular way.
I couldn't say that it's bad, but it's just my personal wish to have a natural lychee instead of the flavored lychee.
Yeah, especially since you can dry most of the things, and this is how tea is created. You dry the leaves,
Yeah.
then you can dry the fruit that you want to add or whatever.
So I brought a bag of tea.
Shall I read that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called pre-cycle. So you guessed that. That's a tea that enables you to experience your menstrual cycle in a peaceful way. Oh, that sounds nice.
Exactly.
To the natural properties of plants. And the plants are ginger, CHASTE tree, and yarrow. I don't know what are those plants, to be honest, but if they're doing what they're promising, that sounds good.
So technically, they're approaching well-known problems with old-time solutions, which right now seem to be new solutions.
Right. Okay. So I assume that they have some proof that those actually work, or is it just anecdotal based from the history?
The design is very lovely.
That's the answer I'm gonna say.
Okay, right. Let's go further. Probably two more brands I will talk about a little bit. A very interesting one called Paolo Argento. They're so lovely. You could see in my Instagram. I am just soaking in a bath.
In the bath.
On their booth.
Oh wow! I mean that for those who do not see the story, but I'll try to explain. It looks like this fancy white porcelain bathtubs that you see at the hotels, like the luxury hotels, and then for some reason it's filled with black and yellow balls, like like the ball pits for kids, but this one is just in a bath. But it looks nice. And I guess it's a nice experience. And I love the touch with it. They put a towel next to it.
Yes.
If you actually
yes. So the products are, as I've said, the bathtub is here for a reason because they have bath salts. Mm-hmm. I really like the way they adapted this kind of product for people who don't have baths.
Wow.
Technically, you could use it just as a scrub.
Yeah, that looks nice. And for the listeners, that's just a sealed like cotton. Oh, sorry. What's this called? The sealed paper bag, like the rustic paper bag with just salt in it. So you can rub it on yourself. Dead sea salt, white clay, and almond oil, and a bunch of flowers.
And those flowers are so lovely. Those blue flowers. It's like basilok.
Yeah, it's a cornflower. It says that cornflower and peach buds. So. I guess it also smells nice.
It is. And what you see is just a package for the distribution, I suppose. But otherwise, they have, of course, like big jars, and those are beautiful. And like have different types of bath products. But I suppose they do have baths, since they decided
in Poland,
to develop these kind of products. And also they have. I asked what are the favorite smells. Some sounds of opening. So oud.
Yeah, that is like, I'm not sure if the Scandinavians are high on oud. Oh, but that would definitely be something to consider for the Middle Eastern.
Yeah, but this is a very refined one. You might remember we saw
very light.
Yeah, we saw recently the oud exhibition in United Arab Emirates. This is.
Yeah, those guys, they prefer like the heavy stuff. This is very light.
Yeah, that's true. And again, it's a soy wax. I'm very happy to hear that a lot of producers are switching to natural waxes. Mm-hmm. Since for me it wasn't very, very weird when you could go to well-known brands and you still see that they are having petrochemical wax. Mm-hmm. I mean, like,
yeah.
Seriously? Like,
I mean, we still don't know what are the effects of burning both the petrochemicals and the natural ones, but I guess the petrochemicals do not sound nice at all.
However, open your windows if you do that. I mean,
just don't forget to ventilate your houses. However, who you want to go, don't go to Hygge.
Yeah, and there's something else we need to open right now.
I'm curious, what is that? I think I saw it says bomb, vegan bomb.
So this is the brand by Kraina. It's a region in Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Kraina, probably the right way to pronounce it.
Kraina, I guess.
Wait for it.
I see that it also has Helianthus anus seed oil in it, so...
We need to know what is about anus here. Oh yeah, very, very lovely. And what I also like is that they have locals doing the stuff, doing the design, doing the packaging. For me, it's just nice to have something very close to me to have communication with. I believe such a thing as like a soul. It's very difficult to get it if you are not into that. It smells good, right?
Yeah. So, well, thank you, Tanya, for sharing your thoughts about this. That what looks like a fantastic event that I right now feel like I missed a lot.
Thank you, Danielle, for hosting me today.
Oh, it was a pleasure.